add value to your business, or do you want to just be this administrative person?
And often, if you look at your talent team and the caliber of talent in your company, they correlate.
You could hire the best person for the job if they were in your candidate pool.
All these individual employees, one by one, together, their voices all come together to articulate the culture of the company.
This is
Hiring on all cylinders.
Hello again, Podcast Land. Rob Stevenson here once more for Hiring on All Cylinders, here broadcasting from our pop-up podcast booth at Fidelity HQ in Boston, Massachusetts as part of the Future Workplace meetup. And I am joined by our VP of Talent Operations, Jill Woody. Jill, glad you're back.
Hi, Rob.
And Jill has ran into an awesome guest that I'm really excited to include, Jim Link, the CHRO of Randstand. Jim, great to meet you.
Thanks, Rob. Nice to be here.
So what were you two chatting about a minute ago? You guys were getting into it, and I was like, whoa, save it for the microphones.
Well, so Jim just gave a fascinating presentation about Gen Z in particular and the ways that our companies and workforces need to adapt to the desires and methods of working of this new generation coming up. So, Jim, I'm curious, when you think about talent acquisition strategies in light of the way that Gen Z interacts, engages, and collaborates, what do you think should be top of mind for employers who need to reach out to these Gen Z?
You know, this generation has many characteristics, all of which really center around the capability to be digital. And what that means, particularly in the talent attraction space, is the following. Whenever you are approaching or soliciting or looking for one of these individuals to come and do a specific skill or task for you in the workplace, the way you go get them is going to be the first and most important thing. Their capability to find information, to know information, and to look up and know more about you than you know about them is tantamount. They will do their homework, and they will be fully aware of not only who you are as a company and what you do, but how you react in a corporate social responsibility perspective, how you view the idea of career experiences and career maps instead of career ladders. And they will think about the experiences that they've seen from your brand in the marketplace. And negative connotations of your brand will not go over well with this generation simply because they have so much access to information and knowledge.
Right. You're not gonna hide anything under stones for these guys.
You're absolutely not. And they look at capability, having that knowledge as a core component of their search for a role. So they will do their homework. They will have that, almost view it as an access to digital information and digital knowledge, and they will go and seek that information and pull it up and build a profile on you before you even ask them the first question.
Right. So knowing how connected they are, knowing that they have the attention span, I think you said 8 seconds was their typical attention span, how can we shape our digital strategy as companies to cater to that and to appeal to that knowledge seeker, but also short attention span?
Well, the other defining characteristic of this generation appears to be their ability to collaborate in order to get any task done, to build any skill, to learn any knowledge. So companies that have a collaborative mindset in getting work accomplished will do well with this generation. So what does collaboration mean? Collaboration means utilizing all of the tools and resources to accomplish a chore or get something done, using knowledge sharing capability or software, using your IT systems to build online platforms so that these folks can engage together to accomplish a task or a project. Remember, they've been brought up in a generation where access to information is real time now and accurate based on what they find. They believe that workplaces will be the same way, and we know that many of them are not. So the adaptation that we have to make toward a collaborative workplace and workspace will be important if we are to attract, retain, and engage these individuals in the future.
That's it's interesting because I think about that in conjunction with some of the stats you shared about how India and China, a lot of this generation in those countries view workforce flexibility as a right, not a privilege, and we don't have that as much in the U.S. So, it is going to be incumbent upon our companies, as with the increasingly global workforce, with this younger generation, to be inventive and to adopt these technologies around collaboration, around allowing people to work remotely. what are you seeing out in sort of forward-thinking companies in the U.S. around this very topic?
Well, remember, this is the first generation for whom workplace flexibility is the most important benefit to them. Important even more so than healthcare. Now, if you think about healthcare to a U.S. market, that's always been the top of the list. Globally, it's not been on the top of the list because healthcare and benefits like that are provided by state institutions or governments. So in the U.S., when you look at the way our latest survey folks responded, for that workplace flexibility to be the number one answer around the world, I think that's huge. And if you're sitting in a company today and you are listening to this podcast, then it's important enough for you to understand that getting to these individuals and appealing to them is going to be the very first and most important step that you can undertake in keeping them in your organization. So utilizing collaboration tools and capability, thinking about collaboration not as an end state, but as a culture, will be the first and most important thing that you can do to shift and get these folks into your place of business.
On the one hand, you hear these stats about that's what people desire. They want that flexibility. On the other, you have a lot of management that worries about, will our employees be productive, truly productive, if they're working from home? And you have, Yahoo a couple of years ago taking away that benefit of work from home. So why is it that the leadership and that certain companies, even maybe knowing this stat, are still sort of going in the opposite direction?
I think the key thing that shifted is that now the knowledge and capability that you used to need to go to the office or the workplace to get, you no longer have to do that. That same knowledge and capability is available via the internet anywhere that you can find a connection. All right. So just the idea of where work gets done has to shift, because now having that knowledge base as close as your iPhone is the way of the future. And as information becomes more and more porous and pliable to workers, companies will have to adjust. They will become more creative. They will become more innovative in the way they get work done, and also where. You were right. I mean, when you think about where these Generation Z employees are, well, they're not on American soil. The bulk of them are on Indian and Chinese soil. So our capability to be inventive, to be innovative, to be creative in getting work accomplished, and then relying on people in other parts of the world in order to get that work done, is just the first step in the collaborative revolution that lies ahead.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, with all this knowledge that you just shared with us, has Randstad done anything internally, with this Gen Z in mind or around the topic of collaboration to prepare for that?
Sure. We've changed two things very quickly and very early. It's starting about 2 years ago, whenever we began to see just how strong the collaborative component of these individuals were. And the first thing that we've done is change our entire learning and development platform. So if you come to work in our organization, the way that you're onboarded, the way that you get information, the way that you work in teams to accomplish a task or a goal, all of those things are radically different now than they were just 2 or 3 years ago. The second thing that shifted dramatically for us was our whole premise and our whole idea about working remotely. You alluded to it in your earlier question, but working remotely doesn't necessarily mean that you're disconnected or that you're on an island or that you're a lone wolf somewhere. Matter of fact, we're using tools and technology that enable online platforms of people to be collaborative and to accomplish things as a team, no matter where they sit, anywhere in the world. And that idea that more and more of our company will be managed that way in the future, I think is not a year or 2 years away. It's 6 months or 8 months away.
Right, or even a month ago.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much. I don't want to keep you any longer, but really appreciate your time and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thanks for the invite.
This is awesome. Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.